what I'm saying? Yeah. The fanatic. Where we keep it 100, keep it real. That's the only way we know how to be. Talking that sports talk. You know what I'm saying? Straight out of South Carolina. Upstate, A64. Yeah. The FANATTIC. The fanatic where we keep it OG. We talking sports, so I call what.
Welcome into the Fanatic Sports Channel for sports fans by a sports fan. It's your man, Coach I. All right, man, as y'all can see by my overlay here, we got a Clemson football season preview today. And to help me out this evening, we got two special guests coming on today. One of my good friends here, always good to chop it up with him, my boy Tony Kennedy, former Clemson running back. What's going on, Tony?
Ain't nothing much, man. How you doing, brother?
Hey, man, just enjoying life. You know how it is. Still in rehab after all them drinks from the national championship season.
I hear that.
Hey, appreciate it. And our second guest tonight, all the Clemson people know him, and anybody that know football know him. He was All-American linebacker at Clemson. He was a two-time Pro Bowler in the NFL. Like 13 straight seasons in the NFL. I mean, Mr. Linebacker himself, Levon Kirkland. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, what's happening? Thank you guys for inviting me here.
Hey,
I'm
no
here
problem,
with
man.
My old teammate, my old roommate, Tony Kennedy. What's up, TK?
Hey, how was TK as a roommate? Was he a hot mess, or did he keep the room clean?
Actually, I was the one that was a little sloppy. TK did. Hey, man, TK was a great roommate.
Okay.
We were from two different worlds. He's from Jersey. I'm from the sticks of South Carolina, and we just meshed. We got along real quickly. It wasn't a problem. He kind of got me into the rap group a little bit. I ended up being like a huge. What's the group, Tony?
Boogie Down Productions.
Boogie Down Production. So in South Carolina, we never heard of Boogie Down Production, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, what's this foolishness that's going on? And then I guess about 2 days later, man, I was hooked.
Hey, that's Tony bringing
his
down,
music, man.
Yeah, bringing down that up north style down here.
We're not privy to that kind of music, So yeah. I was like, man, what are these guys talking about? And then as I listen, man, they're pretty deep. They really were. Yeah,
for real, man. Hey, what the fans waiting on, man? We're gonna do a Clemson football season preview today. We're going to talk about some key departures, returners. We're going to do a schedule overview. Talk about some keys to Clemson going back to the ACC title game and trying to win it and get in the playoffs. And then we're going to get some predictions from both of these fellas, man, on video so we can go back at the end of the year and say they was Nostradamus or pick at them a little bit. Yeah. All right, man, let's go ahead and jump in and talk about the departures and returners. First off, you lost both of your coordinators. You lost Venables to OU, and you lost Tony Elliott to Virginia. How's that? How are you guys feeling about the new OC, Brandon Streeter and DC West? What's West's last name?
Goodwin.
That's it. Wes Goodwin.
A good win.
You want to go first, Tony? What was that?
Do you want to start?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Ahead.
I think anytime you lose two coordinators like we lost, and and you look at what they've done in the last few years, I think there's going to be a little bit of adjustment to it. I think that the coordinators they got now, West and Brandon, they're going to do a good job. But man, it is nothing like having that experience and, understanding the other opponent and what they seem to want to do as well. And being a coordinator, trust me, I was one. It is not easy. It really isn't. So I think it's going to be some adjustment. I mean, for you to think they're not going to be, I think you're just being foolish and you're buying into all the hype. And preseason is all about hype. Everybody's doing well. Everybody's wonderful. Everybody's losing weight. Oh my God, it looks so good. the season is always telling.
So do you think
coordinators?
Do you think it helps that a lot of the players are experienced players and both coordinators were already on staff? You know what I'm saying, beforehand?
Of course it does. Of course it does. I mean, the defense is really bringing back a lot of stars, some guys who played before, so it will make it easy. But Wes, I've known Wes for a long time, and Wes does have a mind for the game. There's no question about it, but he hasn't had a lot of experience being a defensive coordinator. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, you got to have that experience. You can know X's and O's all day long, but can you go out there in a game situation and put your boys in a good situation and put your boys in the right defense at the right time? Can you understand what they're trying to do to you? That's always the question. So I think Wes would do a good job. I know he'll do a good job. But I think there's going to be some trial and error. And then you look on the other side, same thing. These two guys, Venables and Elliott, those guys went to the national championship several times. They won you 2 national championships. Yeah. You just don't replace those guys that easily.
That's right. Tony, you feeling the same way? Or are you a little bit more confident or what's going on?
No, I mean, I agree with him completely. And like you said, when you get – any changes like that, especially at the top, the coordinators is going to have some impact. The thing I think or I like about the defense with Wes is that they're buying in. Everything I hear about this man has been positive. Now, Levon brought up a good point. It sounds good till you get out there game day and you can make those adjustments, but I think the players believe in him. I think back to when Tony took over, and when Venables came in, he was known at Oklahoma, but nobody knew what to expect. And those guys came in, the guys, bought into what they wanted to do, and we had some success with both of those guys. And I think it's going to happen here. I don't know if it's going to happen right away. I think the defense probably have a little head start on the offense. The offense, I'm sure we'll talk about that a little, but because the offense had their struggles last year, to come in here with a new coordinator is going to be interesting. But the defense, I feel more confident on the defensive side. Clemson, we always known for bringing it on the defense. So I think we're going to be pretty stout on the defensive side, even with the new coordinator. He's aggressive. He's very aggressive. I was talking to Levon recently, and I hate to bring this up, but one of our ex-teammates in the ex-Pittsburgh Steelers said that Wes was like, was it Dick LeBeau? I told you, Kurt?
Yeah, it's Dick LeBeau.
I'm like, whoa.
Wow.
I'm like, whoa, that's
wow.
So I don't know why he felt that way, but he felt that way. So anytime you can be connected to somebody like that, it's some good in you. So hopefully we get to see why he thinks that way of him. I think the team is going to just really buy into these guys, because last year, although we won 10 games, it wasn't how we wanted to have the season go or even finish off the season. So I think they're going to be hungry. It may be some growing pains, but I think we'll be okay overall.
Yeah, let's stay with the defense. That front seven, I've personally been on several shows and said that the front seven will be the front seven in college football, probably just like the Georgia front seven was this past year. The thing is, on that defense, you guys lost 3 starters, 2 of which I felt like were 2 of the best DBs in the nation, Goodrich and Booth. Nolan Turner had a lot of experience, and he was a good player as well. But replacing it, how you guys feeling about having to replace those guys, losing all that experience? And TK, you can jump in on that one first.
You're right. We definitely lost on the back end. We lost a lot. I think we'll be okay from a standpoint of experience, because those younger guys got a lot of playing time. Through injuries with Booth and them, and maybe discipline things, they were on the field a lot. I think we got a safety that's going to be special on the team right now with Makuba. So we got some strong people back there. They just don't have the name of the guys you just mentioned. And I think that front seven will help out the back end tremendously. That front seven is, everybody's talking about that front seven and, what they bring to the table, the experience we got. Again, with the type of coaching they're receiving, he's an aggressive defensive coordinator. So I'm sure as long as we get after that quarterback, it only help our back end.
Oh, most definitely. Levon, you feeling the same way? You feeling confident about Makuba as well? Because he's been getting high praise out of the Clemson camp.
I like Makuba. I liked him from last year. he was I thought as a freshman, he played well. And when you can have a guy like that come in at the safety part, I mean, that's pretty good. Now, the guys that they got coming back, you do miss Booth and Goodrich. There's no question about it. But, Sheldon Jones is not bad. Wiggins, they got some guys who played. Mm-hmm. So now it's just those guys getting some more experience. But when you have a front seven like Clemson has, I mean, guys who are basically first team all ACC preseason, that helps the back end a whole lot. When you have guys who can rush the passer, who can get after it, it helps. I especially like Trent Simpson as a linebacker because I played linebacker, but I really like him. I thought last year he really showed up and played well. So I think that's one plus. The only two things that I think at the inside linebackers, that's maybe a different deal. And they may not be like Scalzi. Scalzi kind of ran the defense for a while. So if you're a coordinator and you're losing a guy like Scalzi, Spector, maybe you don't do some of the exotic stuff that we did last year. Maybe you slow it down. Maybe you make sure that those guys are comfortable. But I think the defense is going to be really good. And I'm telling you, if Xavier Thompson can be healthy,
yes,
nobody has a get off like Xavier Thompson. Yeah. Nobody. I remember his freshman year, and I thought he was better than the Power Rangers as far as getting off the ball and getting to the quarterback. So if he can do that, and you bring in a veteran like KJ Henry, you bring in guys like Trey Williams and Tyler and TD Tyler Davis, man, that's probably one of the most underrated. I don't know if he plays the 1 or the 3. I think he plays the 1 technique. Man, that guy he's bananas, man. He is. He reminds me of Grady Jarrett.
Ooh,
I mean, almost the same size and everything. They're
big time right there.
Big-time players, man. And if those guys can stay healthy, they're going to be a handful for any offense that plays Clemson.
I'm with you, and I think you mentioned something good. Scalzi, I think, is the biggest loss on the defense, even though you guys have, like you say, all ACC preseason.
Now, I think these guys are more athletic.
Yeah, I think Barrett Carter, Trent Simpson, I think those guys are more athletic, but Scalzi is Scalzi is that emotional leader, get everybody, in the right place. I think
but Brent Venables' defense is difficult. So you need that kind of guy,
exactly.
Like a Boulware, exactly. Those guys who can line guys up.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see what West does with these two new inside linebackers. Can they line people up in the situations that they did last year, or is he going to just let them just play ball?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it'll be good because you guys don't open with a headbanger. I mean, it's Georgia Tech, so you guys can get your footing up under you. Somebody can emerge as that Scalzi, that Boulware leader. You know what I'm saying? And then by the time you roll up into Notre Dame, you already got that guy, set and settled and running the defense like you want to. So let's go ahead and jump on over to the offensive side. So now we all know the offensive struggles. I'm going to tell y'all a personal experience. At my job last year, after about the second or third game, I found myself defending DJ to Clemson fans. And I'm like, I felt like, I'm not saying that DJ played good. He definitely could have played better. I just felt like he was in a lot of situations where it didn't help his situation. You see what I'm saying? Like, we start out the year, he gets sacked a lot, so I think he had a little PTSD, happy feet with that. Then all his wide receivers started getting hurt. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't think it all should have fell on DJ like a lot of the Clemson fans I talked to was trying to put it all on DJ. Tony, what you thinking about DJ this year and coming off of last year?
I'm praying. Last year, I think even he would say it was a disappointing year for him, especially on the expectations of the 2 games he had the previous year backing up Trevor. But I don't think it was all him. I think we struggled at wide receiver last year, be to injuries, be to the guys who left for the NFL. We had a lot of young guys who I guess weren't ready. You could say it that way. I'm hoping that this offseason like Kurt started with, guys losing weight, guys looking better, a little quicker. I hope that shows on the field. I think he's eager. I think the quarterback behind him, Klubnik, the true freshman who everybody's talking about, who I really like, I think he's going to push him. And, the sky's the limit for this guy. I think he was humbled a little bit last year. That first year, he got a lot of notoriety off of 2 games, and it was well-deserved, but it was short-lived. So I think right now, I think he's humble, he's hungry, and he wants to prove that he belongs. I think it's the same thing for the wide receiver crew. Long as we get the wide receivers on the right page, they can stay healthy, and we get DJ, back to how he was in year 1. I think, things are looking up, but I'm eager to see if that's going to be the case.
Okay, Levon, so there's been several seasons in Clemson history where the starting quarterback may not finish the season and the guy behind him was probably better. Do you think it might be that case this year, or do you think DJ has a bounce back year, or if Cade Klubnik going to come in like 3 or 4 games in and take his spot?
I really don't know, to be honest with you. I think time will tell if that's going to be the case. Now, I thought when Trevor came in that Trevor was just ready, and they're just waiting, putting him in the game. He brought a new dynamic to the Clemson team that a lot of people may not have approved of that move, but it was the right move. It was a good football move. I'm rooting for DJ, to be honest with you. I am. But I think DJ came in, and I'll be quite honest with you, and I don't really like to get on collegiate players, but I don't think he was really quite ready. I'm not talking about physically. I don't think he was in great shape. And I think also sometimes when you just got the job, and you can say what you want to, last year it was basically his job. He didn't have to compete. He didn't have to do it in those things. So I just don't think he came in really ready. I think we all bought into the hype because what he did with Notre Dame and what he did with Boston College. And we thought that was a big enough sample size that we can say, oh, yeah, it's going to automatically happen. Yet also we were spoiled the last 3 quarterbacks we had. They've all been very good. Exactly. So we just kind of automatically thought this guy's a 5-star quarterback. He's gonna do what he did against Notre Dame. And he didn't. And I mean, to go along with some of the offensive line woes that we also had, we didn't get the running game started. The offense couldn't really do much. And it just seemed like it was really a lack of trust between DJ and the wide receivers that we had, the offensive line. It seemed like every time DJ dropped back, he was in panic mode.
Yeah.
And as the season went along, it got better. They were a better run team. You saw that against South Carolina. They were a better team in the Cheez-It Bowl. But I didn't think DJ had a really good year, and I think it's important for him to get a great start to show everybody that he's the guy. But competition makes you better or it kills you. It's going to be one of those 2 things. So we'll see.
I think you're right. I think that last point you made, that competition, knowing somebody chasing you down from behind, I think it makes you stay on your P's and Q's. I think we've seen that across college football when especially at the quarterback position, when they don't have that guy behind them nipping at the heels, then it kind of takes something mentally away from them. With the wide receivers, you guys did have a lot of injuries, but I don't know. I just don't like Justin Ross being injured coming into the year. I think that kind of, wasn't good for you guys. The Collins boys stepped up. Ngannou's a pro. He's got pro talent, but he can't stay healthy.
Yeah. He's a hurt bird. We used to call it, he's a hurt bird. I mean, he has potential. He does some good things, but, man, this guy gets nicked up like nobody's business.
True.
So, I mean, availability is important.
Availability is your best ability. And then you got, what's his name? EJ, he was
Yes.
Yeah, he was banged up last year too. So I mean, I guess if you guys can stay healthy, the one thing I do worry about though, and I worried about it coming into the year last year, is that all of your receivers look the same. They're all 6'3", 6'4", 50-50 ball goers. There's no Hunter Renfrow. There's no what's his name?
Amari Rogers.
Amari Rogers, the Adam, the other kid before Hunter Renfro. There's no, get in and out of your break quick, go over the middle, slot guy. How do you guys feel like that affects Clemson's offense? TK, you can take that one.
I think you're going to be surprised this year. We actually got some of them on the team.
Okay.
Didn't show much last year, but the young man that we got from that was going to Ohio State and decommitted and came to Troy Stiletto that we beat out from Ohio State. I think it's going to be good for us. I think Spector is going to be good for us. Also, Will Taylor, who played a lot last year till he got hurt. All small guys, quick burst guys, quick twitch guys. I think those guys are going to show a lot this year for us on the inside.
Okay. How are you feeling about that? Look.
Well, I agree with Tony, but I think also you got to be able to use Davis Allen at some point.
Tight end
is the quarterback's best friend. He has the frame, he can catch the ball, and he can make some plays.
Okay.
We got to give him the ball a little bit more as well. We can't we look downfield a whole lot.
Yes.
And a lot of times it seems to me, and I'm not a quarterback guru, that DJ did not throw guys open.
No.
And sometimes as a quarterback, when you got man-to-man coverage, you got to throw that guy open. And I don't think he did that a lot last year. I thought he threw a little bit behind. I think he has a decent deep ball, but anything across the middle, he seemed to have a little trouble with it.
Yeah.
So he has to get better in that way. And I think that Davis Allen is a guy that should be utilized a whole lot more. He's a guy that can give linebackers some issues as far as covering. He's tall. He's made like the tight ends are today.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be a disadvantage for the defense. So, I mean, although we need that guy, that Hunter Renfro, but, dude, you're not going to find a Hunter Renfro off the streets now. You're just not going to find him just anywhere. You're not going to find him. Oh, he's a walk-on. Oh, no. That Hunter Renfro has scholarships other places. He decided to walk on at Clemson and became a monster. But the kid always had great ability.
True.
It just seems like a good story. Oh, Hunter Renfro, walk on. Oh my God! And you're thinking in your mind, oh, that's all we need.
Yeah.
No, you need skilled guys.
Yes.
Especially at that slot position. And I think you're also right, Coach, that we did have some of the same guys, and we didn't have that guy. But I do think we're bringing in one. And I think also, man, there's a tight end, the running backs. I mean, Shipley, Pace, you can put those guys out of the backfield, and they're going to cause some trouble. Shipley is not going to drop that pass, that over route that he dropped against Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
if you put him in positions, again, he's not going to drop them. He's not.
That was crucial. That was crucial.
So I think that our offense, we have to wait and see what we got at a slot position. But we got some talent on that team. Some talented wide receivers who could absolutely play. I love the Collins brothers, man. Those guys are good. And like I said, it's really more so on DJ and what DJ does as far as getting the ball to the wide receivers.
Got you. I know you mentioned offensive line earlier. There was some issues with the offensive line, but I told a guy that I talked to, he's a Clemson fan. He said something about the offensive line, but honestly, from an outside perspective, you guys have not really ever had an elite offensive line, and that, but I mean, I get that Trevor is a different, he's a different animal, but he didn't have a good offensive line, great offensive line when you guys won. Deshaun didn't, Kelly didn't. So I think if DJ can play good, I think the offensive line issues will take care of itself. I don't think that'll hinder you guys from, making it to the ACC championship or beyond, just in my opinion. So let's go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I think that you definitely have a good point there with our offensive line because honestly, we never had a great offensive line.
No.
When you got, let me tell you something. When you got a running back like Travis Etienne, you just give him the ball and say, hey, man, just block your space. You don't have to dominate him. Just block your space, and Etienne will take over. And really, you look at the running backs, and you saw in that South Carolina game. And South Carolina, they're not a very good defense. But they got a little something. You know, they can run the ball pretty decently. So I think, you know, if we can hold up a little bit better, I think the offensive line will be better this year.
Yeah.
You'll see the Tigers be a lot better as well.
Okay, let's go ahead and jump into the schedule. We'll just kind of give an overview. No need to talk about the. I mean, we respect all teams for all those that's watching, but we're not going to focus on the smaller teams. So you open up with an ACC opponent now, outside of football reasons. But I'm like, why are you guys playing Georgia Tech in the dome when they feel right down the street?
Because at Georgia Tech, you can't. Yeah, have you been to Georgia Tech lately?
I have, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, I was in the president's suite, and it looked like I was back in 1979. I don't think they even had a TV. I mean, really, it was.
Yeah, it's not impressive at all.
They're engineers, but they don't really care about football.
Yeah,
I don't know, Kurt. They at the ACC kickoff, they have a guy. They're going to shock us. They're going to beat us.
Oh, stop!
Not happening.
Bulletin board material. I like it.
Everybody is good in the preseason at the ACC media day. They're all good. Oh, we're great this year, and we're bringing back this guy, and we're bringing back that guy, and I tell you, we're hard workers, but you got to be talented. You got to be good.
Yeah. So
Georgia Tech right now, they're not very good.
No, but I think because they're an ACC opponent, it creates a mental focus going into the season as opposed to opening up with an FCS opponent, even though Georgia Tech probably should be FCS right about now.
The first game is always you're always up for the first game.
Okay.
You're always up for the first game. No, you can tell me, oh, well, you're playing so-and-so and you're not up. No, the first game, you're up for that one.
Yes. I got you.
You're up for that one. And, yeah, they're not going to play at Georgia Tech. That'd be all Clemson at Georgia Tech.
It's still probably going to be all Clemson.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
And then you guys follow that up with Furman and Louisiana Tech. And then you go to the fourth game, you go to Wake Forest. Now, Wake Forest has a great offense, not very much on defense. So, but it's going to be a good one because I personally think Clemson, Wake Forest, and NC State will be the top three in the ACC Atlantic.
I agree with you on that.
Yes.
But Wake Forest, do you see what happened last year against Wake Forest? Are they still running that offense they ran last year?
That's the problem. Yes, they run that same thing.
Not run that offense on Clemson.
That's right.
Because of Clemson trenches.
It works against other teams in the ACC very well. But when you have a front seven that can absolutely penetrate and get after the quarterback and play behind the line of scrimmage, Wake Forest always have trouble with Clemson with that offense. I don't think that offense really works. I think it's clever. I think it does work in certain situations. I don't think it works against a Clemson or a Georgia or something like that.
I think it works against those other teams, and it doesn't work against the Clemsons, the Georgias, because of like you said, the trenches. The D line is just too physical, too strong, and they can push the line of scrimmage backwards. And their mesh point is so close to the center that it just blows up the whole offense. But if you're a school like Wake Forest, to try to change your whole offense just to beat Clemson, I think that might be kind of crazy because they ain't got the athletes to beat y'all regardless on a regular basis anyway. So I think that's why they keep that same offense so they can beat the Syracuse's and the Boston Colleges. Yeah.
But not a lot. Like, you get after them like Clemson did last year. I just don't think Wake Forest has the horses to hold up in the line of scrimmage.
True. And
orders.
Yeah. And to follow that up, TK, NC State and Death Valley. Now, NC State, they beat y'all last year, but it was at NC State.
True, they did. And, I don't want to put no bulletin board material out there, but I think Dabo don't got this one circled. I think it was a lot of smack talk after that game last year. That's a heartbreaker, too. That was a heartbreaker. But that, to me, that's going to be the first real challenge of the season. That game is going to set us in motion for who's possibly going to be at the top of our division of the ACC. We're going to be ready. I know we're going to be ready. It's a home game, like you said. I believe we play different when we're home. We amped up when we're home. We ready to get after them. I think that trash talk from last year, a lot of the guys still hear it, and they want to get that taste out their mouth. But it ain't gonna be easy. NC State, they confident. It took them a while to finally get over that hill on us, but they feel like they could do it year in and year out. We got to prove them wrong. So it's gonna be a dogfight, but I see us coming out on top there.
I tell you what, man. If you look at NC State, you look at that defense, man. They're bringing almost all the starters back. Those linebackers, man, are players. They can absolutely play. They're going to give Clemson a lot of issues on offense. They really are. That's going to be the key battle. I think the Clemson offense versus this NC State defense that's a veteran defense, guys have been around the block, guys who are all ACC. That's going to be the trouble. I think that's going to be the battle. And we'll see who will win that battle. But, NC State is confident, and they should be. They won last year. And, I think Clemson, if you're a team, man, sometimes you just got to take it. You got to take what you want. True. And that's going to be one of these games. Me and Brent and Buckner used to always call them cage matches. Loser lead town kind of matches. You know what I'm saying? So these are kind of games you got to fight. Some games you're playing a game, and some games you got to come in ready to fight them. And I think that this is a game that Clemson has to come to at Death Valley and say, like, we're going to fight y'all.
Yeah.
I'm not going to we're going to fight y'all all night long.
And that's why
that mentality, you have a shot to win. But this is going to be a tough game for the Tigers.
And this is why I think that running back really helps. When you get in one of these type of games where it's not just, air it out type of game, you got to have guys who can just go, because like you said, they're going to be physical. They got linebackers that may play at the next level. But we got 3 running backs who are going to give you all they got every time they're in the game. They could go the distance. They could carry the ball 10, 12, 15 times if they have to. And I think that's going to bode well for us, especially if we're struggling with our passing game. To know we got 3 backs that's going to be able to go the whole game will bode well for us.
Yeah, I think both of you guys make some great points. That NC State defense does return 14 of their top 15 tacklers from last year. They're great at tackles for loss, which is one of the biggest statistics I think that shows you how good a defense is these days. I give you guys the edge because it's in Death Valley. I mean, since 2016, you guys are like 34-1 at home, so it's just hard to win in the Valley. If you guys was traveling up to Raleigh, it might be different. But I think, like you say, Dabo and company definitely have to have this one circled because this is Game 5, and I think this will pretty much decide the ACC Atlantic.
This is whoever. Fight. You got to fight.
Like you said, LeVon, like after this game, somebody got to go home.
Old school, man. We fighting this game.
Yes, sir.
And then you follow that up with a trip to Chestnut Hill. They at Boston College. They got what's his name? Phil Jacovic. Good. He's a good quarterback. I just think top to bottom though they don't have the horses for you guys to compete. So barring any health scares or whatever, I think you go up there, take care of them, and then you finally get to go back to Doak Campbell. It seemed like a while since in COVID they ain't want y'all to come down now.
I tell you what, I think Florida State has improved. I saw last year's game. You saw that Florida State, they didn't quit. They gave Clemson a scare, a go. I still don't think they're quite there, but I mean, playing up to their place, they're gonna play Clemson. They're gonna play tough too, man. So it's a game that you got to take care of as well. But I just don't think they got the guys now.
Yeah,
I think they did.
I think one of Florida State problems is they got guys like in their starting 11, starting 22. They just don't have depth, and you can wear them out. It's like last year they had Jermaine Johnson, but they really didn't have anybody else. And to be an elite team, you have to have depth, which Clemson definitely does on the defensive end, and looking like it's going to be the same way on the offensive end. How you feeling about that game, TK?
Same way. I think we're going to wear them down. Like Kurt said, I was surprised last year. I thought that was going to be a lot easier than it turned out to be. That alone is going to make them play hard against us, regardless what the record is when we get to that game for them. But I think coming off of that NC State game, assuming we win that game, assuming we're undefeated, We're gonna be up for that game. We're gonna be feeling good after that NC State game, and I think we're gonna go on there on a mission. Maybe we have a quarter and a half where they're matching us, but our talent eventually gonna take over. And I think as we get later in that game, you're just gonna see our talent just take over the game, and we win it easily.
Yeah. I think you guys, you play Syracuse at home the week after that. I think you guys take care of Syracuse. I know there's been a couple of scares, even a loss of Syracuse here and there. I don't think this is one of those Syracuse teams, though. And there is, like I said, as long as health is not a problem. A lot of times when they are able to play with you guys, it's some health reason. It's like Kelly Bryant going down or Chase Bryce having to come in or whatever it is. But I don't think they have the horses. Then you get an off week. And then you got to travel to Notre Dame. And I know none of us, the thing about it is not a lot of people outside of Notre Dame like Notre Dame, but anytime Notre Dame comes to your stadium or you travel to them, it's the biggest game that you play at that point in time. You know what I'm saying? So how y'all feeling about going up there? Because, Freeman, he got a lot of momentum. Now, he never coached the full season. We saw him in the bowl game. He did all right. They ended up losing, but he's got a lot of momentum going up there in South Bend. TK, how you feeling, man?
All I'm going to say is I need to see the Trevor 2 years ago when we get to South Bend. We got to go to that game. When we get there, we got to be running on automatic. We got to know who we are as a team. We got to know what we want to do against these guys. We got to have confidence from our wide receivers to our lines, to our quarterback, running back. Like, we got to go into that game extremely confident. It's hard to play up in South Bend. Notre Dame, they know every time they play, it's going to be a dogfight. And they may, depending on how their season going, we both could possibly be looking at, being in the top 10 and looking to move up with that game alone. So I think it's going to be a dogfight regardless, who got the best talent. I think that game is going to be a dogfight. I love what we bring on defense. I think the defense is going to, allow us to stay in that game. It's just will we make enough plays on offense to pull it out.
Now, Levon, this game right here, both of you guys are undefeated. It could have playoff implications.
You wonder when you have a change in the head coaches, are the standards going to be the same? Are they going to get better? Is the recruitment going to be better? And I think those questions are going to come in play when Clemson goes to Notre Dame. Now, Notre Dame, they always have pretty good talent. They're going to play you pretty tough. I really like the tight end. They got Michael Mayers. He's a good tight end. I mean, that guy can cause some issues. But they don't really have a lot more as far as the wide receivers are concerned. They only have one guy who's really coming back from last year. But I think this is a chance to see if Notre Dame can still stay at that same level. Everybody's saying it's great, it's wonderful, but that's the spin you always put when you got a new coach. Oh, he's wonderful. He's going to change the program. So we'll see about that. We'll see if he's going to be able to do that. But Notre Dame's going to be that's going to be a tough one. It definitely is. To me, that's another game you go in, you simply say, we're fighting them. You know, we're going to fight them all the way to the very end. And if you have that mentality, you definitely have a chance.
I mean, this last 4-game stretch on your schedule, I think, like, sometimes I try to tell people, sometimes you could be better than a team, but because of where that game falls on the schedule, that game might be closer than it needs to be. You know what I'm saying? Even if you win, it might be closer than it needs to be. And that could be the case with that Louisville game. Malik Cunningham is like Lamar Jackson 2.0. I know top to bottom, they don't have the roster that Clemson has, but we saw what he could do last year until he got hurt. And this game being in between Notre Dame and Miami, we already know these 18 to 22-year-olds. Levon, you think there's any chance, somebody might like you guys may be undefeated right now, looking at I think this is that's Notre Dame game. That'll be the second week of the official playoff rankings. You guys be in the top 3. Any chance for some people overlooking Louisville, looking towards Miami?
It's a possibility. You're absolutely right. They're young kids, and sometimes they can get caught up, whether it's social media or what everybody is telling them, and saying that, Louisville don't have a chance. But Louisville do have that quarterback, Cunningham, that can make things happen. I agree with you. I don't think from top to bottom they're better than Clemson. And I think the one thing that Clemson really does very well is they kind of take that no-bimmer and say, this is championship run. So he does a good job as far as making sure that his team is focused and understanding what they're trying to get to. So I don't think it's going to be a drop-off for Dabo in what he does because he's been doing it for years. You know, November is winning time. It's championship time. That's when they put on the orange britches. They get from the business whites to the orange pants. You know what happened when you put on the orange pants. Everybody knows when those orange pants come to your house, what time it is. We're collecting rent. And we may not be nice about collecting rent. You know,
good thing is
somebody's door or something.
Good thing is 3 of those last 4 games you guys get in the Valley. So
right.
You go to Notre Dame, then you play Louisville, Miami, and South Carolina in the Valley. TK, how you feeling about that last 4-game stretch, especially after coming from Notre Dame?
Oh, I love it. I love it, especially if, like you said, if we come into that Louisville game undefeated, coming home, I don't think we take anybody for granted at that point. I think we could smell, you know, like they said, you can smell the blood. You can smell what's ahead. And Dabo going to have the team ready. I think, if we come into that game 8-0, 9-0, whatever, and looking at the last 3 at home, we got everything in sight. Everything we want is sitting ahead of us, and it's on us. We don't have to depend on another team to lose or beat somebody else. It's all in our hands. And like Kurt said, that's Orange Bridges time. That's ring. That's time to bring it on home. It's time to put some more banners up. So once we get to that time of the year, everybody know what to expect in the Valley.
Okay, and so these last 2 teams, man, they got a lot of off-season momentum, like Levon say, man. Everybody good in the off-season. You got Mario Cristobal down there in Miami. He is not a new head coach, but he's his first year at Miami. Then you got Shane Beamer down at Carolina, and he is a new head coach. His first year coaching as a head coach at South Carolina.
Well, it'll be his second year, actually.
Second year. That's right. You're right. That's right. But he's got a lot of momentum. Mario Cristobal's got a lot of momentum. NIL, whatever it is, doing that. I don't see either of these guys, again, roster-wise, outside of NC State and possibly Notre Dame. I just don't feel like anybody can match up with you guys roster-wise. Of course, you know, South Carolina, that game's, that's going to be that, you know, we live here in South Carolina, so we know that's going to be talking season for real. They already think they you know, own y'all level for some reason. I don't know why that is. So how we feeling about rivalry week? Is it going to be a 30-0 again, or do you think Beamer's got enough momentum and coming into his second season that he can even make it a game?
You know, last year, I think that people bought into the hype a little bit. I was on another podcast, my podcast, and I was just like, there's no way in the world South Carolina's going to beat Clemson. This is a down year for Clemson. I don't care what down year. Right now, Clemson has a better roster. Yes, and usually that's kind of the difference.
Facts.
Who's the better team? Who's the guy, you know? And I think South Carolina's not quite there yet. No matter how much they want to be, they're just not quite there yet. I think they'll get better. I really do. I think they'll get better, but I just don't think they're quite on that level. And I don't know when they're going to be on that level. And this is a game that, as a rival game, the thing is you're not going to take them for granted because you want to beat them, because if they happen to beat you, you know, you got to listen to it for 365 days. I just don't know if they're ready yet. You know, it's not me beating on South Carolina. I just don't think they're quite there. Spencer Rattler, I think he's going to help them a lot, but with him, he's a guy that, as a quarterback, you want your guys to be reliable, and you want your guys to be good decision makers. I don't know if Spencer Rattler is that kind of guy just yet. I think he does have a lot of talent, but I wonder what's going to happen to him when he's running for his life and the offensive line is not as good. Those are kind of things that you got to fix if you're South Carolina. And they haven't fixed those things last year. I mean, last year, their offensive line, I was like, wow. And then there's supposed to be elite defensive line, and I just saw them get pushed around by Clemson offensive line that really you can't say is a juggernaut, or you see any guys going to the NFL from that line, and they just basically pushed them around all game long. And South Carolina didn't have an answer for it. I was like, load the box, do something.
They make it a game. You know what I'm saying?
You can't run. Dude, they were trying to go man to man. Our man is better, and it wasn't that way. I'm like, blitz them. Do something. They tried to go mano a mano and got busted up. So they have got to adjust to the likes of Clemson. I don't care if you're in the SEC or whatever the case may be, you're still not on Clemson's level yet. And I just don't think they're there yet. That's just my honest opinion.
Top to bottom, I think he hit it all on the head. I think it was a lot of hype going into that game. I mean, you know how it is. Sometimes you got to pump yourself up even when you don't believe it. But just top to bottom, program, team, all of that, South Carolina is not where Clemson is. So I don't think that'll be a problem this year as well. TK, so overall, what are you seeing as the keys to the season to make it back to the ACC title, have a chance to win it, and get into the playoffs?
These defense, well, the coordinators definitely got to gel. You know, the units got to gel with both coordinators. We don't know what to expect right now. Even though we got the talent, like we started this show off with, we got 2 new coordinators. So we got to see where they are, see where they're going, see if the team is, you know, vibing with them and gelling with them and doing what we need to have done. But ultimately, I think the success of us in 2022, 2023 will fall on DJ and just our quarterback room. If we get that quarterback room first and those wide receivers second in line, and we start playing offensive football like Clemson has played in the last 5, 7, 8 years, I see us having a very successful season. And like you said, you know, we don't got to get into SEC, ACC, whatever, but I think there's 2 games you circle on our schedule that if we running on all cylinders and we take care of those 2 games, I think we're going to be right where we want to be at the end of the year.
All right, Levon, anything you see, any other keys you see, or anything that possibly could keep you out of the ACC title game and possibly out of the playoffs?
Well, I think you have to be healthy. I think when you see somebody make a run to the championship, a lot of times, man, you're just fortunate, no injuries, and you're good to go. I think that's got to be a part of it, especially with us losing our wide receivers. I think DJ is the key. I think DJ has to play to a certain level, and I think he has to really gain the trust of those wide receivers and that offense and that team. Just because you're the quarterback doesn't necessarily make you the leader or the guy they count on. I think DJ has to prove that he's that guy.
Okay. That's all valid points. I think, like you said, DJ is the key. I think health, and like you said, something that a lot of people don't understand. To win a championship, you can't just be good. You got to be healthy, and you got to have some breaks fall your way.
You got to be fortunate.
You have to. It doesn't matter how it comes. You can look at any champion, you know, in the past years, they have had some fortune in some game at some point. If it didn't happen in multiple games, it happened in a crucial game. You have to be fortunate. Last year for Georgia, it was the wide receiver health. You know, they wasn't, and that was fortunate, and the fact that Alabama just wasn't that deep. You know, the year Clemson won it and lost to Pitt. I mean, everybody lost the day that Clemson lost to Pitt. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like fortune. You know what I'm saying? If that doesn't happen,
when you look at the NC State game, but that dude doesn't miss that field goal. I mean, that's a loss.
And so, I think Clemson is primed to get back. If as long as DJ or the quarterback room, whoever that may be, holds up. So now it's that time of the show, fellas. Got to get you on record. Tell me what you think the schedule, like tell me what you think the regular season record going to be, whether or not you're going to win the ACC championship, and if you're going to make it to the playoffs. All right, we'll start with you, Levon.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the season, the first 3 games, well, really, I think the first 4 games, the Tigers should be 4-0. I think the NC State game is going to be a game that you don't have to really play well. I really don't. I really see maybe only a loss, whether that be to NC State or to Notre Dame.
Okay.
Other than that, I see Clemson winning all their games. They will have an opportunity to play for the ACC championship. They win the ACC championship. Even if they lose one game, they're going to have a chance to go to the playoffs.
That's a mirror copy, carbon copy of what Levon just said. I feel the same way. I feel like we can run the table, but it's on those two games, NC State and Notre Dame. If we have to lose one, I'd rather be earlier. I'd rather be the NC State game, regardless of the rankings. But I honestly think that we pull those out as long as, we don't have no hiccups or get big heads and start reading newspaper articles. I think we'll be ready. But regardless whether we lose one or win them all, we definitely going to be in the ACC championship. I think we win the ACC championship. And I think the committee, and I think deservedly so, we're going to have that opportunity to be one of those final teams in the playoffs and make some noise.
I'd rather lose with Notre Dame.
And I was about to say, the only reason why
because they're in Atlantic. We're in the same division as NC State. So I would rather lose to Notre Dame. You're going to lose to anybody.
That's a good point because
we lose to NC State, and then they could possibly run the tables. So you don't want you don't want to lose those guys. You want to make sure you take care of them. And then if you lose to Notre Dame, it's okay. You're still going to be still in there and have an opportunity. So I'd rather lose to Notre Dame.
Yeah, TK, I get what you were saying. Like early losses, normally you can make up time, but like Levon said, if you lose to NC State because they're an Atlantic team, and not just because they're an Atlantic team, but because they're a viable option to make it to the championship. If you were to lose to, a Syracuse, which is not going to happen, but we're not worried about Syracuse taking your place, in the championship. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, can we say something about the coach from Syracuse? I think he does a tremendous job.
He really does.
He's really probably one of the best coaches out there, man. And I just wish that Syracuse was better because I don't really – I think they buy into the coaching. I just don't think – they're just not a very good team, not a very good culture. And for a guy that is that good as a coach, man, it has to be tough.
It's kind of hard. I think it's kind of hard to recruit. First of all, it's not like, that's upstate New York, It's cold up there. It's hard to get those Southern boys. If you want to be good at football, at some point you got to have some Southern boys on your team. I just believe that.
I think we talked to him, Jersey.
Hey, you see he came down south to play football, though.
It was warm weather.
He does a good job with that team. I don't know if y'all pay attention, but they play us hard. There's not two quarterbacks, with us recently. They're very physical when they play Clemson. So we got to be prepared for that game. Again, talent-wise, we got them, but I don't know if it's the coach saying we need you to get this guy off the field and win. But when they hit us, we feel it.
It's hard. They do.
Yeah.
They do.
I think they look at Clemson like that's their ACC championship. Like if they can somehow beat Clemson, that solidifies the season, regardless of what's going on everywhere else. And I think that's why they kind of get up for you guys.
Teams like that, though, they're just going to play you tough, and then they play next week and they lose to Liberty by 55 points.
Yeah,
but they're going to play you tough, though.
Hey, that's the world of college football, man. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on the show, man, and giving us some insight on what you think Clemson's going to do this year. I, for one, hope y'all back in the playoffs. I want to see y'all in the playoffs fully healthy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Georgia going to make it back. We shall see, because our defense is replacing a lot of talent. So, for Levon Kirkland, Tony Kennedy, man, this is Coach Howard, Fan Addict. We out of here.
We got it jumping like it's that valley. I call my dogs out the pound, let's go eat. Turn on Fan Addict, let's have a debate. Who really hold down the Southeast from state to state? What team hungry gonna eat everything up off they plate?